Hey friends, you walk in the tackle shop and you're like, holy cow, there's a lot of leader. Professor, it's intimidating. You know what I mean,
very much
guys?
so.
Well, in this video, we're gonna take the mystery from that. We're gonna break down the best offshore fishing leaders for your needs. We got the different brands, we got the professor, we got the man, Jimmy Hillsman himself from Oceans East, and we're gonna break it down for you. And by the end of this, you're gonna finally understand, okay, I'm gonna buy some leader and I know exactly what I need. All right, so let's get this started because man, was this intimidating for me, and it still is if I don't have the professor by my side when I go into the tackle shop, all right? Now, for those unaware, we are at Oceans East, Nax Head, North Carolina. We got Jimmy Hillsman here. He's the owner of this store. It's located right next to Speechless. We love that, Professor. We get to come here all the time. So many of the locals come here, a lot of that local knowledge, and your workers have tremendous knowledge. And then so somebody comes in here, Jimmy, and they say, man, I'm just getting started with this offshore thing. I know I need line, I need leader. Well, we've done some videos on line. Now let's talk about leader. What are some of the questions you'd be asking them to figure out what type of leader they need?
Well, I agree with you. It's very overwhelming. I mean, look at this. And this isn't even everything we have. I mean, there's so many different options. Mono leader, fluorocarbon leader, and then what brand should we use of each one?
Yes.
And then what size?
And then you're right.
Yeah.
And what size?
Yeah.
I mean, what I try to do first, say, what are you fishing for? Are you dolphin fishing?
Yep.
Are you marlin fishing? Or are you tuna fishing? And then once they tell me what they're fishing for, then that helps me a little bit. And then I ask them, where are they? Are they fishing around here? If you're fishing up north, fishing more of the greener water. A lot of variables affect what
Good.
I'm going to want to sell them.
So let's start with what are they fishing for? Okay. Somebody comes in and says, man, I want that red meat because we love some of that red meat. We want some of that tuna, yellowfin, big eye, whatever it is. In that situation, what are we generally recommending?
So a couple options.
Okay.
I used for years 100-pound, 130-pound Momoy, the smoke blue. I loved it. Tough stuff. Caught a lot of tunas over the years on this. Never had any issues. This is a very good option.
Okay.
But I'll say this.
Okay.
It's good green water, blended water. But when you start fishing that hot, pretty water that we get in the summertime here, some other areas have south of here all the time, I like going the fluorocarbon route in certain situations.
Okay.
So when our water changes, a lot of times I'll pull this stuff in and I'll switch to like a fluorocarbon.
And the reason for that?
With the fluorocarbon, the line's not as visible in the water and it really helps. For years I fished mono leader and then I hopped on a boat and that captain was very anal about fluorocarbon. And I started noticing differences in our catches.
So what were the differences?
So on those days where we had really, really hot, pretty water with a light fluorocarbon, like a 90-pound fluorocarbon, 100-pound fluorocarbon, we were out catching other boats around us that were using straight mono. I did notice a difference.
Interesting.
Another difference, say we hit several tunas and we're sitting there in the water fighting our tunas and we leave our lines out, obviously, so that as soon as we get those fish in, we can set back out. We just knock her in gear and we're fishing again.
Right.
Those baits I have out there, I call them, just the baits that are still out there in the spread, I call it a drifter bite.
Okay.
If when we're sitting still, all of a sudden one of those rods goes down. Started to get a ton of drifter bites that I never got before with mono.
Interesting.
So that's telling me when it's down there in their face, sitting still, and they can look right at it, that mono, they were shying away from the mono. They were seeing something that they did not like. With fluorocarbon, it was blended in with the water, and they were piling on it. But my drifter bites went up 200-300% when I started using fluorocarbon.
That's great. So we like the Momoy. And with the fluoro, is there any particular brand that you find is more popular?
I sell it all. They all have different things about them that I like. Here's an Andy, 100-pound fluorocarbon right here.
Yeah.
It's like the Andy mono, very, very tough.
Because we've got a high seas, we've got a Momoy, we've got an Andy.
And then I have Seagar down here, two different types of Seagar. Seagar, I'd say this is 90-pound. Love this yellowfin fishing. Very, very small diameter.
Okay.
So if you're looking for something very, very small diameter, it's a Seagar. If you want something in between, it's going to be the high seas or the Momoy.
Okay.
Or if you don't care about that and you want something that's just
a
tough
one
and
size
strong,
fits all almost.
this Andy.
Andy tends to be the one size fits all.
It's thick, but it's strong. You're not going to break it.
What are we using on Speechless, Professor?
I've been buying. You have a brand, a house brand of fluoro here, where you can buy it in bulk, larger spools, and that's what we've been using. Is the Ocean's East house brand, 90-pound fluoro is what I've been.
Very, very good fluorocarbon, and we have it priced right. It's priced probably cheaper than the rest of the stuff because we get it in bulk and we can help save customers money.
And folks watching could actually order that. Like, they can call and they
just
can order.
Call us up and I'll ship it to you. But very similar in the diameter of the Momoy. Very, very similar diameter to that. Very strong though.
And when you go through a lot of it, the bulk, when you buy it in bulk, I mean, it hurts the initial buy, but you get a lot more for your money. And when we use it like we do, you know, you go through a lot of it. And you never know when you're gonna get that fish of a lifetime, so you don't want to have raggedy leaders, you know.
No, you don't want raggedy leaders, y'all. And so we talked about the tuna. Hey, let's shift gears to, let's say, billfish.
Yep.
In that world, someone's going bill fishing. Is there a particular leader that you're recommending at that point?
It's going to depend on what you're doing. Say you're blue marlin fishing. I want something that's tough. I'm not going to chafe them off. I use mono. You can use fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon is tough. Yeah, but I like it extra hard.
Okay.
Like, you know, they make a Diamond makes or more, they make it extra hard, and I'll use that for if I'm blue marlin fishing because I want something tough. I'm not going to chafe the fish off.
And the reason it needs to be hard is because the bottom of those bills is just like 80 grit sandpaper. It's constantly rubbing on that leader, so it's very easy to part a soft. And when I say part, you know, saw through that soft leader.
So if we're going straight billfish fishing, you're going to change the leaders?
Oh yeah,
off of what we would normally use.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
But you can use fluorocarbon too, because the fluorocarbon, you know, is tough, very tough, but it's expensive, and they're not leader shy, the blue marlin. So in that opinion, do you really want to spend the extra money on getting the fluorocarbon because they're not leader shy? It's up to you.
And they're one time.
Both ways work.
Those leaders are one-time use when you're marlin fishing. You know what I mean?
Chafed up.
Yeah.
Just might as well just cut the leader off and start over. So it gets expensive if it is for.
It's a good point. And so if somebody is, if I ask you what is the most popular leader brand for your folks that are billfish focused, coming in here to Ocean's East, what would you say that brand?
Momoy makes it.
The Momoy.
Diamond Momoy.
So the extra hard from Momoy, the diamond, that's one that you would say tends to have a high demand.
And like a 530 and 400 pound, they're very popular blue marlin fishing.
Uh-huh.
If the guys are sail fishing or white marlin fishing, then get like a 40 or 50 pound fluorocarbon. And a lot of those guys like the Andy. Diamond at one time had a presentation line that they discontinued last year, which was upsetting. That was a very, very good line for the price. But now the guys are getting the Andy and, you know, 40, 50, 60 pound range for the white marlin sail fishing.
All right, that's cool. In terms of other species, like mahi, anything that you're seeing that people tend to gravitate towards?
So I'll say this, if it was me personally, with dolphin, they're almost like a brim in a bass pond. They'll eat anything.
Okay.
I'll sell you fluorocarbon for dolphin, but, you know, it's a waste of money in my opinion. A dolphin's gonna come in there, they're hungry, they're gonna eat what you have out most of the time. If they're picky, you can trick them into biting, but I wouldn't waste money on fluorocarbon. And for dolphin, I like something soft. So if dolphin comes in, I'm dropping back to them. I want something soft, like a Jankai or a Momoy, something really soft. They're very, very soft leaders. I don't want them feeling it when I drop back to them, so they don't drop it. So these two are probably what I use dolphin fishing the most.
I love this stuff, Professor. It's like I'm
learning.
This is, to me, it's not the type of thing that you necessarily read in a book. And it's that local knowledge.
That's
and
right.
You know, you were on the back of a boat at the Oregon Inlet Fishing Center for 16 years, it says to me, right? So I mean, you know, you've got such rich experience, and you know, the fact that you bought Ocean's East after that, and you know, and you continue to hire folks that worked over there, and now you got that true expertise for people like when I come in, somebody like me that's just trying to really learn, right? That, you know, I've got a guide, and everybody needs a guide, and I was lucky to have the professor, but this is really, really helpful.
And that's where this shop was important to me. You know, when I was fishing for a living, I saw the need in this area to have a shop that people could go in, and at all times I have an inshore guy, a beach guy, an offshore guy, always in here. I want to be that shop where people want something, come in here, hey, what can I get? Instead of it just being a t-shirt shop like some of the shops, are, you know, that they don't have a clue about the actual fishing side of things. And that's where we're trying to be a little bit different than some of the other shops.
I know it's a side note but I'm guessing t-shirts are just super profitable. And so,
Oh, no,
you know, it's like,
and then this clothing is very important too, is don't get me wrong.
Right.
But I want to have, and I have girls that work in here that if somebody wants some clothing, they can steer them in the right direction.
Right.
But I also want to have the other side of
Right.
a tackle store that also has the knowledge and the fishing knowledge.
that's it.
So it's very important to me to have both of those in Ocean's East.
Makes a lot of sense. And of course, anything that you hear us talk about with Ocean's East, and they've already been in a lot of our videos that you've seen. They're going to continue to be. We've got a great relationship with them. Make sure you order from them. Let them know that you watched the videos, that you saw this Mr. Hollywood himself, Jimmy Hillsman, on camera, because he's good. Professor, as we're closing this out and we're just talking about the best lines for the best brands, excuse me, for leader as they're fishing in 2024. Any other thoughts on this in terms of what you've learned, what you use, what you like, what you don't like?
Well, the main thing for us is cost. That's what it boils down to, because we go through so much of it. So that's what we try to tend to look out for, you know, besides the quality and all that stuff. Of course, we want the best, top of the line,
Right.
But there's a fine line there, spending too much money for something that you don't exactly need. So
Best value that you found
is the Ocean East brand.
is the Ocean's East brand.
Yeah.
So and they didn't ask, Professor. That's like what we were using before we had a relationship
Yeah,
with
I
Jimmy.
mean, before I even knew this guy, I was buying it. So,
Yeah, so
yeah.
there you have it, folks. If you have any questions, you reach out to us, put in the comment section as well. Professor can answer some of those, and I'll do my best. At least I'll ask this guy, and then I'll answer for him. But we hope you enjoy these videos. Make sure you come visit us here in Manteo, North Carolina. We're at slip number 92 at Pirates Cove Marina, and of course, Ocean's East is right there with us. Come have that experience of a lifetime, and that's what we have here in the Outer Banks. It's one of the greatest fisheries in the world. So we hope you've enjoyed this, and until the next time, everyone, stay salty.